Hello and welcome to My Side of the Bag. I'm Drew Hinesley, joined by my co-host, Scotty Worldwide. Scotty coming to us from LPGA Q School in Mobile, Alabama, down on the Gulf Coast of Alabama. And it doesn't feel like you're on the coast, does it?
It feels like we're in Antarctica because it is cold. I went to walk the golf course Monday morning and it was 41 degrees when I just got out of the car. So we've had two frost delays in 2 days. So that tells you how cold it is.
My Side of the Bag, sponsored by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. You call it salsa, you call it red sauce. When you have Uncle Keith's, you can call it a party. And also by Birdie Brands, Game On, Bugs Gone, best bug spray in the business. Scotty, I'm going to throw it to you and let you introduce our guest.
Awesome. Well, we've been trying to get this man for a long time. He came highly noted from many caddies as the guy that we needed to have on. Current caddy for Harin Rue, seventh ranked player in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to My Side of the Bag, Martin Bozek.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
How we doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I've experienced that Q school many times back in the day, and you get that north. I've only done the one in Daytona
Okay.
when we used to play LPGA International over in Daytona in Florida. When you had that north wind, those were the rough years. Cold, yeah, like 30s and 40s, and so yeah, I don't miss that, but it was those were tough weeks. So.
Yes. Yes. Well, hey, listen, I think you're a long removed from those tough weeks where you're currently at. But let's take it back, Martin. Just why don't you go through your origin story and how you got into the tour life of caddying?
Sure. I started actually caddying as a young kid. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and they had the Chicago suburbs had great caddy programs. So my first job was ever a club caddy at the age of 13. So I did that. That's when I started to play golf at the same time. It was around 1998. Tiger Woods, coming on the scene. So it was like I'm full into golf and caddying and I did that growing up through college. I played in college, and then I was an assistant golf pro for a little while after college, and then I did Q school. I think it was 2010, 11, around those years, and I hooked up with a player from a college player down in Florida. We worked together at a course in Florida, and I helped her out for Q school. Her name was Sandra Chankija. A Thai girl, and she got through Q school, and I told her, I said, if you want me to come out, I'll quit my job as assistant pro, and I'll come out on tour, and that's how I got started. So,
And from there, right, from being on tour, kind of what was your journey to where you are now?
well, I worked, yeah, that was 2012. That was my first year on the LPGA,
Okay.
and I worked for her at the start of the year, and I finished with another player, another rookie at the end of the year. My first break, I would say, was 2013. At the end of the year, I hooked up with a player, Eunhee Ji, and she was kind of well known. Been out on tour for a while, still plays currently.
Yep.
She won many times before I worked for her. U.S. Open winner. I think she won the LPGA Championship before it was known what it is now. And I ended up doing 7 years with her. So a long stint. We won 3 times, and I finished with her in 2020, or was it 2020, 2021 was my last year with her. And then I kind of bounced around a little bit for a few years. I went on the men's for like a short period of time, and then I came back on the LPGA, and worked for. I was able to work for Michelle Wee for a short period of time, and Arya Jutanagarn. I worked for Danielle Kang, and now Heyran Yu. So.
All right, that run with NHG included the 2019 HSBC Caddy of the Year Award that you received. What did you do so special in 2019 that you haven't done in any other year of your career?
You know what? Maybe the other candidates weren't as strong. I think, I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything special. I think we just won our third tournament in less than 2 years. So we were kind of in a hot stretch at that point, and um, and my peers voted for me, and I was thrilled. It was such an honor to receive that award. It was a bit of a shock, because there was definitely caddies that had slightly better resumes at the time. So I was very surprised when I found out that I was nominated for that. So it was very, yeah, it was
And
it was a great honor.
I believe that's they always award it like on the first tee. Is the event in Singapore, the HSBC in Singapore,
Correct. Yep.
and they surprise you on the first tee. So that throws you off your block a little bit right out of the gate at a big event.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're getting ready to, get ready for the first round, and we do voting for the Caddy of the Year, Monday through Wednesday. And I can't remember if they announced it on Thursday or maybe it was Friday. I don't know if it was the first round or not. I can't quite remember, but I voted. I can't remember who I voted for, but I was walking to the first tee, and Travis, Stacy Lewis's caddy, nudged me. He said something to me like, congratulations on the award or whatever. I'm like thinking, what are you talking about? And then as I'm walking to the tee, I'm like, oh shoot, this is probably regarding the caddy of the year. And so I get to the tee, I'm like kind of a little nervous. I'm thinking, is this really happening? And they come out with the cameras and the bib, and I'm like, oh god. So yeah, it was definitely a surprise.
And
So
so for those that don't know, every time you go back, you get to wear a bib that states that you won the caddy that year. Um, and it says
yeah,
the year you won on the bib.
yeah. So they give us that bib, and I'll keep that. I have it at home. I have it up on my wall. That's a great honor to have that. And then every year that you come back, those guys that have won in the past, they have another one for you. So we all have a unique bib that says, Caddy of the Year, and I think it has our year on there. But it's the same bib as everybody else's. It's so a lot of times your playing partners or even my player didn't notice for maybe half the round. She looked at me. She goes, "Oh, wait, what is that? You Caddy of the Year?"
Yeah.
So you have to kind of pay attention and read what it says because they all look the same pretty
Yeah,
much.
you gotta really look closely because like at first
Yeah,
I don't know who we played with this year and I saw it and I was like, oh, okay, I see
yeah.
it.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to remember. There's guys that won it 15 years ago, like Dave Brookers and Jason Hamilton's, and you forget. Time flies by, and it's nice to have that 1 week where everybody kind of gets honored again for it. So it's a great club to be in.
Also, it might be a little nerve wracking wearing that bib, walking around that golf course. Any mistake you make, and it's like, oh man, not quite living up to the bib. Eesh, may have misread
Yeah,
that one. Sorry,
there's
bro.
definitely added pressure, especially from the fellow caddies during the round. They'll let you hear it. If there's like if you're a little long or short or misread the putt, yeah.
Martin, let's go back. Let's go back to you said 7 seasons with Unhee G. Just how uncommon is that, and like how come we don't see that more from today's LPGA landscape?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think in my situation, it was my second year, end of my second year, and we had some great results just to start I started in Asia with her, so it was the end of the year, and I'm super excited, and I think we're a good match, and I think that's the key out here is trying to find a compatible, like everybody has a certain style of caddying, a different personality, and I kind of learned early on that you want to kind of focus on those types of players because it's going to work out well. I'm very like chilled, laid back, and a lot of the Koreans, they're also in that kind of category, and I work well with them, and we work well together, and it was just when I started with her, we just kind of progressed year after year after year, and I appreciated the work she put in, and I think she appreciated me kind of pushing her every year because I knew she was a great player. Obviously, she had the resume um, early in her career, and I just wanted her. I kept letting her know, you can get back to where you used to play. We just got to work hard together to get there, and we had a great relationship. I had a great relationship with her parents, her father. Her father was a big role in her career, and it was just it was kind of everything. So that's kind of what made it last so long.
Talk about all those dynamics that go into working with any player, really. They've got coaches, they've got agents, they've got parents. Talk about how important it is to just get along with everybody on the team and keep everybody happy.
Yeah, every job's different. I'll tell you. So with Unhi, there wasn't a big like a team around her. It was basically just her and I. She had a coach for a couple of years when I was around, and what happened was I got to know her game so well that she started just kind of listening to my inputs. Whether it was her short game and putting and golf swing, where it was kind of her and I for the last 3 or 4 years together. So that was very unique. You don't see that too often. It was just being with the players so long. I had a coaching background, so I kind of watching her play for a couple of years, I could pick out things that I would see on the golf course that a coach maybe wouldn't see just showing up every once in a while. So that was my unique situation with Unhi. But then now, I work for Hayer on You, and she actually has a big team around her. She has a swing coach. Um, she has a putting coach. She has a short game coach, and every player is different. She utilizes everybody, you know, and keeps everybody intact, and it's a great team. Um, and I feel like just watching from the outside, because that's what I do as a caddy when her coaches are around. Just kind of pay attention to see what they're working on and see if you can pick up certain things that maybe you can help her out when they're not around. But yeah, I just try to stay out of the way. And I only speak up if I'm asked to. And if I see things, I'm happy to kind of maybe come up with the team and the coaches and add my input. For the most part, she's got a great team around her, and I just kind of let them do what they do. So that's the big difference from the two long jobs that I've had recently is, this one does have a big team around her, and I just kind of try to stay away, stay on the sidelines, pay attention, be attentive, and pay attention to what's going on in case, if I need to help out in any way. But yeah, her team is great, and they do a great job. So.
Awesome. Now let's go to that because I feel like she's kind of taken off since you guys teamed up. So is it rewarding for you? And can you speak to how rewarding it is to see, her rise with the both of you guys? Because we knew she was good. She had a really good couple finishes, but I don't think she was top 10 in the world, or a lot of people saw that until you came on board and joined the team.
Yeah, I started middle of last year, towards the end of last year, and she had a great start to the year. So I was surprised when I had the opportunity to work for her. She was looking for a caddy, and just the timing worked out that I had the chance to work for her. And I think we won maybe 2 months later. Arkansas was her first win. She was in contention a few times that year, and just came up a little short. And Arkansas was just a special week. She, had the success, and I think a lot of things came together. Ball striking was exceptionally well that week, and the putter worked that week. And a player of her caliber, when the key factors are working, she's going to put herself in a chance to win, and she did. So that was that year, and then we come back this year, and it was a little bit of a slower start. I'll say if you look at her stats, she's a great ball striker. That's number one. She'll be either one or two on greens and regulation. So week in, week out, that's kind of her strength. And when it's really good, then, that's where she shoots her 64s and 65s. She gives herself so many of those opportunities that a lot of players don't because of her ball striking. She just has more chances to go at some of the pins that a lot of the other players can't. But I'll say the big factor this year that changed, there was a few things that were going on. I would say her putting was probably one area of her game that was probably lacking a little bit. And we kind of started the year struggling a little bit on putting. And then it got to the point where I suggested seeing a putting coach. And, I didn't know who to see. I knew there was a couple guys on tour that were kind of available week to week. But I asked around because she's Korean. Her main language is Korean. English is not her strong suit. So I was like, it'd be hard maybe to find a coach that can communicate with her. And we were in Palos Verdes. We just made the cut on the number, and we putted poorly. And over the weekend, the Poana, guys, Poana greens are just. If you're not comfortable with Poana, it can make you look bad. And she lost a lot of confidence that week, and it carried over to the following week in Arizona, and we missed the cut by one. And I told her, I think I have somebody if you're interested. And another fellow caddy mentioned this putting guy named Chris Cho. A few players were working with him. He can speak some Korean. Jenny Shin, and there was a few other players that were working for he was working with. And so I mentioned it to my players manager. I said, she should try him. I know Jenny pretty well, and she's really knowledgeable about the game, and she wouldn't just work with anybody. And so I did a little research, and it sounded, he had a pretty good resume, and so she was up for it. And she saw him. I think we were going to Vegas anyways, and he's from Vegas, so they hooked up in Vegas, and that's where everything changed. It was a lot of just fundamental things, just alignment and starting the ball on line. And he did a great job. And, her putting has been superb ever since. So that was kind of the key. It was just once she saw him, we just kind of slowly took off and built momentum from there to finish the year. So it was the putting for sure. That was kind of the key factor this year.
Interesting. Awesome.
So,
Now, from your teaching background, how comfortable were you suggesting see a putting coach? Because that maybe could go either way, right? Some players could maybe not be super adaptive to that. Some people could say, no, I'm good. But how comfortable were you to
well,
make
that's
that
just
call?
Yeah, so it's like, again, part of her job is kind of to read the room, read the player. And I felt like she was definitely looking for something. So I knew that if I suggested something, she'd be probably open to it. Watching her putt, I knew she was a good putter, but the fundamentals were a little off. Her alignment was so far left, her shoulders were so far left, and which made putting very inconsistent week to week. So, and again, English is not her first language. I didn't feel very comfortable communicating with her with like technique and maybe trying to explain certain things. I knew that would be a bit of a barrier for us. So, be able to find that Chris. I mean, it was kind of like, man, it was what a find. And I mean, from the first minute when they met, I knew, and I think she knew right away too that this was going to be a good fit. And like I said, it just kind of it rolled nicely through the year, and she built confidence every week, and to attribute her ball striking with great putting. I mean, that's a deadly combo. So.
My side of the bag, sponsored by Birdie Brands, Game On, Bugs Gone, best bug spray in the business, and also by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Call it salsa, call it red sauce. When you have Uncle Keith's, you can call it a party. So, Martin, you talk about a little bit of a language barrier there. Talk about the on golf course dynamic. Then, I mean, I guess you have to keep it pretty simple, and I guess you're not going to do a lot of over communicating just based on the lost in translation.
Yeah, a lot of these golfers that grow up outside of the U.S., and use Heron as an example. She played all over the world, so she needed a different caddy to every country that she would go to, and so she pretty quickly realized she had to learn Japanese, she had to learn Thai, she had to learn Chinese, and I'm not talking, where she's fluent in it, but she learned all the golf terms that she needed to know:
Hmm.
long, left, short, right, strong, soft, high, low. So she's very understanding in when it comes to golf terms. She understands it very well. But if you're trying to have more of a social conversation, you have to keep it maybe a little bit more simplified. But no, she's. I think most players, these top players that have grown up playing internationally, coming to the U.S., going to China, playing all these junior events, they've hired caddies from all these countries, and they've kind of had to learn how to adapt and learn the language where they play. And I was very surprised her English is fairly well. She does interviews in English, which is very surprising. She gets she has a manager that helps her translate some of the questions if she didn't quite understand them. But I mean, she answers everything in English, so she's very comfortable for the most part in it, and she'll just get better as the years go on. So, but our communication's good. If I felt like, we need to work on something, but it was just like, I just kind of did my thing and kept it simple, knowing that I've worked for Koreans. And it's, we haven't, had any issues that I know of, or she hasn't said anything. So, just continue doing what we do.
Having worked for so many Koreans, how's your Korean?
Not very good. Not very good. I know the basic words, like, yeah, I probably know 7 or 8 words, and that's probably, it's a very difficult language to learn.
It is. It's a very
and you
tough
know
one.
what? They almost don't want you to learn it because, that's kind of their way of being able to talk behind your back,
Yep.
amongst their friends. So
Yep.
Yep.
I kind of understand a lot of times what they're talking about, even though I don't know what they're saying. You can kind of just feel it out. But yeah, I know there's almost probably a dozen words I know, and so I use it, I throw it at her, and she throws it at me, and we understand what those are, and I don't think I want to learn any more than that. So maybe one word a year. Keep it simple.
Hey, listen, as long as you know the pleasantries and what to say at dinner, you'll be
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Well, I remember I worked for
Um,
a Korean player, a male Korean player, and this was 10 years ago. I was 36 years old, not nearly as ancient as I am even now. And he was explaining some of the cultural norms to me, how you bow to everybody that's older than you. And he said, so basically, you don't have to bow to anybody but Charlie Wee, who was on the Korn
Right.
Ferry at the time, which I felt was an incredible insult, and he thought was really, really funny. But so I do know that I bow to everyone that's older than me, and that group is diminishing by the year. So
Yes, there's that there's respect for sure for the elderly with the Koreans. A lot of 안녕하세요.
yeah.
It's a very polite way of saying hello to your elders, and I say that to most of the Koreans out of respect, and especially the parents. A lot of the parents you see out there, you address them that way. It's very respectful, and I think they appreciate it.
Yeah.
So,
I came on tour working for a Korean, and the first word that I learned to understand very well was Oma, because
oh
that's
my,
how
yeah,
important
mom.
mom was. So,
The parents, I tell you, the parents are just as important as the player as far as the boss goes. You kind of have 3 bosses, mom, dad, and then the player. So it's a little different.
well, and
yeah.
I know guys that have Korean bosses, and they have to go to dinner with the family once a week. Is that required of you, Martin?
Absolutely not. And that's not by choice. I just don't get asked. So I would trust me. They eat pretty well. So Korean barbecue is one of my favorite meals, especially when we go to Korea. They take me out when we go there. When we're in Korea, I'll go out with them. But we see each other, I think, enough on the golf course. Mom's around a lot, so they cook a lot at home, and they do their thing, and I do my thing. So
Well, I remember going out to dinner with my first Korean family, and the check came, and I went to reach for my wallet in my back pocket, and the agent happened to be sitting right there next to me and grabbed my wrist and wouldn't even let me bring my wallet out of my wrist. Said,
Right.
"Don't do that." Massive insult. Didn't
Right.
know. Again, you kind of figure some of those things out on the fly. But when you're with a Korean family, it's the father's role and his responsibility, and you're insulting him if you don't allow him to pay. And so if you're listening to this and you work for a Korean player and you've never gone to dinner with them, don't even pretend like you're going to pick up the check.
That's right. Yeah, they love to host, the team, the parents do, and yeah, you never pay. I mean, maybe down the road, you know, you can repay them a certain way, but for the most part, yeah, that's they're always taking care of the bill, and it's just them kind of hosting them to their cultural, style of food. And I
Yep.
appreciate it, every time we get to do it. So.
Well, what's your schedule looking like? I know we got the holidays coming up, but January brings a new year and a new season. So when are you getting to work again?
We're gonna, we're gonna do Tournament of Champions, which is the last week of January,
Okay.
or in Lake Nona in Florida. So that'll be our first event, and then I think she's gonna go. Her coach does a winter camp in, I think, Vietnam, so she's going to spend some time over there after that.
Hmm.
She just bought a place in Vegas, so she's a new resident of the United States now. So she'll spend a little bit of time there, come to Florida, then fly out to Vietnam, and I think we'll do a couple events in Asia, Thailand, and Singapore. So that'll be the start of her season.
So all over the map to start the year.
Yeah,
You're probably pretty close to Diamond Elite on your in your
yeah.
travel
Put a lot
account,
of air
aren't you?
miles in. Yeah, a lot of air miles.
What's the secret to that?
Well, I tell you, I prefer driving. Like the start of the year and the end of the year when we play in Florida. Oh, it's the best. I just get in my car and I don't have to pack properly. Just kind of throw everything, and hopefully when I get to town that I brought everything. But and if I didn't, oh well. So, but no, the travel, yeah, the travel's tough. I mean, when I first started, you're excited to go to a new town, a new city, a new country, and after I think maybe after about 5 years, you've probably done and seen it all now, and it's just repetitive. And so, but you become a great packer of luggage. I mean, my luggage almost gets never unpacked when I get home. I do laundry and I just keep it for the next trip. It's the same shirts, same shorts. It's just all golf attire. So
You're telling me you're not excited about that flight from Florida to Singapore in March?
no, no. Yeah, there's a lot of connections involved, and a lot of times there's delays, and yeah, so it's and the jet lag. Yeah, no, I don't look forward to it. But you've done it so many times, kind of know what to expect, and you download all your favorite movies and your podcasts, and you just get through it.
Well,
So
most people do exactly that. We binge out on Netflix or whatever, and we're on our phones. But you actually have a unique set of skills,
Oh
and I've
yes.
seen them on display at the Women's PGA Championship in 2022 at Congressional. You came and visited the house that I was staying in, kind of as a fifth wheel. So I was sleeping on the living room couch all week long, and adjacent to that living room was a dining room with a piano and a guitar, and you
Uh-oh.
jumped on both. You just basically walked in the house and just sat right down at the piano, began playing sticks. Then you went over to the guitar and started playing what I think is a Chris Cornell song, but you said it was something else. But your musical abilities absolutely blows me away. Do you entertain yourself year round doing that?
yeah, it's just a hobby for me. So I started playing. I think I started playing the piano like really young. I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 years old. My parents, both my sister and I did, and we did it for a little while, and then the guitar got introduced, um, and maybe when I was 10 or 11. So I stopped playing the piano, but I kept playing, I kept practicing, and just doing it as a hobby, and I played the guitar for a while, and just I'm not very, I'm not great at any of them. I just, when I start something, I like to figure out how to do something, and I'm pretty persistent at it, So it takes time and practice and discipline, and it's a cool hobby to have when you're, in your downtime when you're home, or sometimes if I travel, like I'll take one of my guitars with me, especially if I'm driving to tournaments. And it's just a cool way to, you know, to for a couple hours to go by, and next thing you know, you're learning songs, and the music. I love music, so it's just a hobby for me, and I wish I could do it more often, but with travel, you're on the road a lot. There's times where there go 3, 4 weeks at a time where I don't play, and I come home and you're quite a bit rusty. So
Well, you didn't sound rusty that week in Bethesda, Maryland. Guys like Kurt and Mercer were all there. I've actually got a couple of videos of you. I'm going to use those
Hey,
videos to promote your appearance here on the
okay.
show.
Hey,
So if you haven't seen these videos, they're on my personal Instagram, but they're about to go up on my side of the bags Instagram.
okay,
hold on, hold on,
but
Okay.
wait a
Martin,
minute now. Hold on.
Martin,
There's
Martin,
there.
Martin.
Go ahead.
If you want to get back, I have videos of Drew doing karaoke in our house in
Well, there's
Cincinnati.
no getting
So,
back. I'm promoting Martin. That is
Well, that's
embarrassing
what I wanted to
video.
bring up,
That
because when I was playing the guitar, you know, out of all the caddies out there, nobody wants to sing. But that week where Drew was there, I had a singer,
uh-oh. I forgot
and
about
he's
that.
pretty good.
Oh man, I forgot
very
about that.
underrated, very underrated. You don't think it's coming.
And so it was fun to be able to play and actually have some, because I can't, I'm not a great singer either, so I kind of like, I can't hit the, stay in key or hit the notes with some of the songs. But when Drew, he's got a gifted voice, and
Oh
to
gosh,
hear him belt out the songs that I was playing like he knew them, I was like, that made my day, made my week.
well, it
So
was fun. I had forgotten about that, but now you stirred up the memory. I do remember us having some fun, but
yeah,
I think we've got somebody singing solo during Sticks, during your Sticks piano solo. We're going to pull that up. We're going to have to identify some caddies that were in the background there.
yeah. That
Um,
was What year was that? That was a little while ago.
well, that was. I mean, it was 2.5 years ago. You're making it
Was it
sound
two
like
and
it
a?
was 9 years ago. It was two. It was June of
Ain't that
2022.
far.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's
a
less than
house
two
in
years.
Maryland.
Or more than
And
2 years, sorry.
again, you came in every day playing music, and I'm a music lover as well. And so I was able to identify the talent
Yeah.
you have. We need to do that again sometime, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That was cool. I mean, to walk into the house and see a piano and guitar sitting there, I thought I was dreaming for a second. I thought, how's this possible for an Airbnb? So it was very fun that week.
Well, don't worry. I'll bring those videos back to light, and we can
Okay.
all enjoy your musical talents as we promote this show. Um, we're just about running over the 30-minute mark, so we're going to try to wrap this up. But before we do, Martin, you're going to play a quick nine with us.
Love it.
Okay.
And we're going to ask you 9 questions about your golf experience. And Scotty, you want evens or odds?
I'll lead it off.
Go ahead.
All right, Martin. Your favorite place in golf?
Favorite place in golf? Well, I grew up in Chicago area, so let's probably a golf course in Chicago. I'd say we played KPMG at Olympia Fields, and I kind of grew up in the area, so I would say that was kind of one of my favorite golf courses and tournaments that I've ever done.
What about your least favorite place in golf?
Probably somewhere where it's hot. So Thailand or Singapore. Yeah, my when it gets humid, I sweat pretty bad. So it's like, I can't wait to leave that week or get in the air conditioning. So those are my least favorite places.
Okay.
All right. What's your, so not Evian, what is your fifth major?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of guys would agree with me. It's got to be, probably CME, the last event of the year. I mean, I feel like a lot of players feel the pressure with the, especially this year with that purse. What was it, $4 million
To the winner.
to the winner? And I would say that's got to be right up there. You like qualify for CME, and then you got anybody has a chance to win that. I would say that's a pretty good fifth major. Or if you work for a player from another country, whenever you go to their country, that feels like a fifth major. So when I go to Korea, that almost is like a mini major.
Do you find in those situations the parents who, in your case, with this particular job with Hey Ran Roo, do you feel like they're more nervous in Korea? They're more uptight. There's more pacing. There's more superstitions when you go to a place that's their home country.
I don't think the parents. I think the players more has more of the nerves and distractions. They have big fan clubs over there, so the parents are just consumed by these super fans that are all around them. So yeah, that's yeah. They're not. I think they're having a great time out there. Just being able to see their son or daughter, play at their home country. So
All right. What's the best major, in your opinion?
well, it's got to be either U.S. Open or KPMG. Both of those organizations just step up, tremendously. We play some of the best courses, in the country for KPMG, and even the U.S. Open. I mean, we just played Pebble Beach. Um, was it last year for the U.S. Open? I mean, yeah, I would say both of those tournaments are right up there, just for the quality of the golf courses, the best courses in the country, and just the setup is big. So
All right. Win an event by 5 or lose a major by 1?
yeah, you never want to lose. So I mean, yeah, win by 5 for sure.
I don't want to see this team, player or caddy, in a playoff.
Nelly Corda, just because Jason's, I'm gonna have to listen to him caddy.
You're going to have to listen to him. You're going to.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's number one, I think, on many caddies lists. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, you got to clip that.
yeah,
Uh,
I've only I don't get paired with him a lot. We've been paired a few times this, maybe three times this year, but he's yeah, that's definitely number one. So
Yeah,
for
we'll
sure.
we'll make sure he sees this. Don't worry.
Okay.
greatest call you've ever made, caddy wise.
You know, um, you know what? It has something to do with a 7-iron always. I don't know why, but we when I worked for Unhi, she made a hole in one at Kia. She won two cars that week. It was a 7-iron.
Well, hang
She won
on.
a car for the
Did
hole
you
in
Yeah,
one.
did
yeah.
you get a car?
No, I didn't get a car.
Okay, that's a bogey there.
Yeah, that's all right. No, she took care of me though. She took care of me on the side, so it was all good. We had a great relationship, and she was a great boss. So, but like going back to the 7-irons, we made a hole in one there, won the tournament. Um, when I worked for Heron, we were in the final round, final group, in Walmart, um, at Pinnacle Country Club. We're on the Scotty. See if you can help me out. Is that the par
Yep.
five? Is that 15? That one that's before that island par three? Is it
Yes.
14?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
14 or 15 hole par five. They
Yeah.
moved the tee
14's the
up.
par five.
14. Yeah, it was 14. And it was a 6-iron number to the pin, but she was, adrenaline's flowing. And I said, I think we can get 7 there. I think 7's plenty. And she hits the 7 to 2 feet, makes eagle. And that kind of puts us in the lead, I think, one by one shot, and we end up winning by 2. And then there's another instance. We were at Evian this year. Same thing, par 5, last hole. It's a 6-iron number, but she's hitting it so well, and I could see the adrenaline. We're at like 4 or 5 under in the round, kind of making a move, and I'm like, I think 7's plenty. Hits the 7-iron to 2 feet and makes eagle to finish the tournament. So it seems to be a 7-iron. Anytime we get a 7-iron, usually the right call.
It's I'd say it's working out okay.
Yeah.
All right. The biggest mistake you've ever made on the golf course?
Well, there's probably a lot of those. So but you know what? On the golf course, how about maybe I slept in the parking lot once in my car. Maybe that was a bad decision. Like, you try to save some money when I was a younger caddy. So
Well,
I would say that's
the
right up
only
there.
way. When I was in my younger days and I was drinking, that was the only way I could make a morning tea time, was if I slept in the parking lot. So those were some of the best decisions I ever made.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
All right. Well, we have some news, and we got some news earlier this week about the LPGA's commissioner. So, if you were in the role for a day, what changes would you make as commissioner of the LPGA?
Yeah, that was some interesting news that came out
I heard
recently.
I heard you just say good on the side there.
Well, is that what I said? No, I mean, I think, Molly, for whatever, well, she's there for a couple of years. I think she did a good job. We don't know what really goes on behind closed doors.
Correct.
And, but
Well, I will stop you there and say whoever was going to follow Mike Juan was going to have very big shoes to fill.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mike had a reputation that I don't think anybody could, come in and replace. So, I mean, my biggest thing that I see every year, and not only from my perspective, but anybody that watches golf, is the TV coverage. I think, well, whatever it is, whatever it is, the TV deal or just the coverage in general, I think it's subpar to what it should be. If we had a better coverage of the LPGA, whether it's more cameras or whatever they got to do, to put us, into more of a national level of television. I think that is what's going to help the LPGA moving forward, because I just feel these girls don't get the spotlight. And that's what I hear when I come home every week, or if I talk to somebody that's watching the coverage. I hear the same thing every week, every year, and how poor the coverage was. So I think that has to be addressed, and I don't know if that can be. I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, but that'd be the top of my list.
Well, thanks for playing a quick 9 with you. We'll go to extra holes and ask you one additional question. Who is the next caddy that needs to join us here on my side of the bag?
Well, there's a couple of veterans that are that I look up to a lot, and that's I don't know if you've had Greg Johnson or T-Mac, Terry McNamara.
We would like to get them both, but they've stiff armed us so far. So maybe you can help us in recruiting them to the show.
Yeah, Greg, I'm going to try to get you to have Greg come on. Okay. I'm gonna call him and I'm going to nudge him a bit.
We've gotten a Heisman-like stiff arm from both those guys.
Gotcha.
So we need you to get through that and help us out.
All right, I'll do my part. I'll try to help you as best as I can.
Because those two guys, I mean, I could do 5 episodes just with each of them, just asking them the questions of the experiences I've watched live. So
no, if you could get either of those guys, it'd probably be worth it for sure. I mean, just the years, the stories. I mean, the weeks that I get a chance to spend and hang out with those guys are are some of the coolest weeks because of the stories you hear from them.
Yeah.
I can't even, I'm not even at any level to speak on their behalf of what they've done and seen and heard and experienced. But
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I'll
it's
tell you right now, I'd put those two on the Mount Rushmore of all caddies, not
absolutely.
just LPGA caddies.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I look up to both those guys and I pick their brains constantly all the time and they help me out and I appreciate it. So I'm sure they'd be great guests on your show. So
Well, you have been a great guest on this show. And is this your first podcast you've ever done?
yeah, no, I didn't,
Well,
when you asked me to do it, I was like, whoa, I don't know what to expect. So it was just, yeah, it was a little surprising, but it was good. No, I enjoyed it. So
Well, I can tell you that news may have surprised a bunch of people who are now 45 minutes into this episode because you don't sound like a rookie at all. You sound like a
not at
polished
all.
veteran, just like you are on the golf course. And we appreciate your time. And we're glad we were the first for you.
well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a great time. So
Scotty, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Just those words that we said about T Mac and Greg is kind of how I view you, Bird. And, one of the cool things that I know about you is that, you don't take the success for granted. You're out there working, still walking golf courses Monday mornings that you've been to 15, 20 times. And so the fact that, you allow us to do this and to watch you work has been a pleasure. And so thank you for joining us.
thanks, guys. Yeah, Scotty, same with you. Seeing you out there every week working hard. You know, you're right up there. Who are you working for this week at Q School?
Amelia Lewis.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
been out there a long time. Great girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her a
Yeah.
lot. So
Sweet, sweet, sweet girl.
My side of the bag is sponsored by Birdie Brands, Game On, Bugs Gone, and by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Call it salsa, call it red sauce. When you have Uncle Keith's, you can call it a party. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and the social media channels, Instagram and Facebook. Give us a listen, give us a like, and we'll keep giving you the world of golf from my side of the bag.